They look like us, they sound like us, but something's not quite right. In this episode, we slide into the shadows with stories of mimics and skinwalkers, two sides of a chilling coin. One imitates with easy precision, the other takes your form through darker, ancient means. From whispered Navajo legends to modern-day double sightings that defy explanation, we explore what happens when identity becomes a mask, and someone else decides to wear it. Expect missing time, expect unblinking eyes, and expect voices you trust saying things they never would. You'll be asking, was that really my brother in the hallway? Or just something that learned how to walk like him? Hello everyone, and welcome back to our humble abode that we call Spooky and Kooky for episode 27.
We look into anything paranormal, conspiracy, horror, anything that's a little bit weird is usually our bag. So if that's your bag too, I'm pretty sure you're going to like it. So stay for the ride, and as always, give us a like and a subscribe so you can watch more.
Yes, and today we're going to be giving you some more stories from Reddit about other people's real life experience with mimics and skinwalkers.
Yes, which is so unsettling, don't you think? Because, yeah, just to see something that looks like someone, but there's just that niggling doubt, like, there's something just not quite right.
Yeah.
It's just the most horrifying thing ever. So I do love the spook of the spooky and kooky. So this is right up my street.
Yeah, this is definitely an episode for you and anyone else who likes the spook with the kook. So we're going to jump right in. I've got a shorter story just to get us in the mood.
Dip the toe.
It's from a Reddit user called ittybitty216. So shout out to them. Around 15 years ago, when both of my kids were toddlers, I was putting them to bed one night and my son was adamant that he wear his favourite red race car pyjamas. I happily obliged, helped him change into them and tucked him into bed. Then I sat down at my kitchen table with a friend who had come over to chat and catch up. The way that my apartment was set up, you could see my kids' bedroom doorway from the kitchen table. My friend and I were talking for a while before we were suddenly interrupted by the sound of my son screaming. We both turned and looked at the bedroom doorway and saw my son standing there, loudly crying/shrieking and wearing his green pyjamas with airplanes on them. Everything inside of me was screaming that this was wrong. The hair on my back of my neck stood up on end and a cold shiver shot down my spine. My friend and I wordlessly stared at each other for a second. We both knew that my son couldn't change his pyjamas by himself. We both looked back at the doorway and my son was gone. We ran into the bedroom and found him tucked in bed, still sleeping peacefully in his red race car pyjamas. My friend asked me if I saw him standing there in his green airplane pyjamas, and I confirmed that I had. My friend freaked out and left. I slept on my kids' bedroom floor that night to make sure nothing happened to them. My friend and I still talk about this to this day. It's one of the craziest things that's ever happened to me. My son, of course, doesn't remember any of it, but he loves hearing the story of how his doppelganger scared the crap out of us.
Ooh.
LOL.
Lol.
What a bad friend.
What, to just leave her? Yeah.
I'd be really livid.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'm gonna stay with you and we can just be in this together. Or just like, come to mine. Bring the kid.
Bundle everyone in the car.
Yeah.
We're going on a little sleepover.
Literally. But, do you know what? When you were reading it, my mind thought, is that a time slip?
I don't know, because of the way he was crying and shrieking as well. It was a bit odd. What I found weird, neither of them got up to comfort him, so something must have been in them to just go into frozen shock.
Yeah, know that wasn't... Well, that's not her son.
Yeah, and you don't know how long he was standing there. It could have been a matter of seconds, but surely your immediate thought would be, I'm going to go over and comfort him.
Yeah.
But they just, something must have been in them to be like, wait, his pyjamas are different, and there's something just off.
That is, I guess, the difference, isn't it, between a doppelganger and a time slip.
But the fact that he was just in bed still asleep and both of them saw it, I would be really annoyed that my friend was just like, so I'm going to go.
It's been lovely.
Good luck.
Hope I see you again.
And she even was like, you saw that too?
Yeah, so they discussed it and then she was like, ooh.
Look at the time.
Wow.
How time flies. But that is a brave mum to sleep on the floor, because I probably would just let my children fare for themselves.
I would just be getting a hotel room, being like, we're going on an adventure to the Holiday Inn. Okay, so this one is from a Reddit account called Accept That I. So there we go. So, a little backstory. My friends and I have been hiking and backpacking around the area many times. This is in northern New Mexico, by the way. It's in the title. Okay. At least once a year on a good long multi-day backpacking trip. A few times in the same location, and other than car problems and sometimes friends not bringing the right gear, we've never had any issues. This specific trip was a 6 mile in, 6 mile out, 6k total elevation shift, both ways trip to a lake. That sounds so shit to me.
I was about to say, I'm really glad that we do this together and not go on a hiking trip that's 12 miles in total and 6k in elevation.
Not for me. We did it in October, so we were preparing for extreme colds, potentially below freezing at night. There were only 3 of us, and we were all geared up for this. I was probably the least geared out of the trio, and I knew I'd be perfectly comfortable. So we begin the trek in. Took us until the end of the day, and we got to the lake no problem. Set up camp and just enjoyed ourselves to the sounds of nature, some MREs, which I don't know what that is, and a couple of pints of whiskey. A couple of pints of whiskey, wow. At the end of the night, we all settled into our sleeping quarters. Myself in a small tent, my friend in a hammock right next to me, around the fire pit, and our other friend some distance away from us in a tent. Now, it's important to note that my friend in the hammock was camped right next to me, maybe 10 foot away, while our other friend was probably 100 foot away or so. How could you be just out in the open, in a hammock?
I don't know. That is so exposing.
Yeah. I had trouble sleeping, was restless, and even though I was warm, I kept getting shivers frequently and tossing and turning in my sleeping bag, which I just attributed to the cold. I didn't think anything of this at the time, and eventually I began to drift to sleep. The forest around was quiet, with the occasional sound of insects buzzing or bird taking flight from a tree. That's when I was awoken by the sound of my friend's voice. Clear as day. I was groggy and a little confused as to why he was waking me up, but I clearly heard him say, "Steve, help me, help me." I immediately froze, as he sounded really desperate, and said, "Steve, help me," again. Then, before I got a chance to speak, I heard the voice again. "Steve, help, I have to pee." And then he laughed in a way that sincerely only my friend does. It was a giggle that I'd known him to have since we met many years ago, and I responded, fuck off, I'm trying to sleep. And I thought that he was just trying to be funny.
I feel like the mimic really didn't think that one through, because why are you asking for help for that?
But that is key, isn't it? It never really quite makes sense.
Yeah.
Thinking back on it, it would be very out of character for him to wake me up, to pull some stupid joke like that, but I was half asleep and wrote it off. Although I knew something didn't feel quite right about it, I decided just to ignore him and let him do his business. He persisted. "Help, I need you, come out here." I just mumbled about going back to sleep and just to go off if he needed to. My memory is a little foggy as to how we conversed back and forth and what exactly was said, but afterwards I noticed that he hadn't made any noise to leave to go pee or get back in his hammock as I was trying to fall back asleep, which I found odd, but again brushed it off as nothing. Once the voice had been gone for a while and I assumed he had quietly gone on and gotten back into his hammock, I realised I had to pee badly and wasn't going to get any sleep until I did. Oh God, that would be the worst, isn't it? So I got out of my tent and immediately walked to his hammock to pull the same stunt he had on me, calling his name in a joking manner and waking him up to let him know I was there. But when he woke up, he was immediately thrown off by this. That's when I told him I was just going to pee like you had told me you were going to do a bit ago. Maybe 15 minutes had passed, but not enough time for someone to get back in their multi-layer cold weather hammock and fall asleep deeply again. Not to mention he hadn't made a sound since our conversation stopped. He asked me what the hell I was talking about, and I asked him over and over if he was just outside my tent. He swore up and down he had been asleep since he'd laid down that night and never once got out of his hammock. That's when I felt the real chills go down my spine. Whatever had been outside of my tent asking for help in his high-pitched mocking voice that my friend would sometimes joke with was not him. I told him, oh okay, it was nothing, and I proceeded to go pee, keeping my eyes on the surroundings the whole time.
It's weird that the friend didn't hear it either.
Yeah. Eventually, I was able to get back in my tent, warm up, and get drowsy enough to sleep, even though the events that had just transpired terrified me to my core. I'm well aware of the law of the areas around northern New Mexico, and I wouldn't be the first of my friends to go missing without a trace had I opened my tent and followed that voice that night.
What?
Just casually. Yeah, friends have gone missing.
Friends! Plural.
Started off as 9 of us, now there's 3. Somehow I shook it off and was tired enough to start drifting to sleep after I cozied up. That's when it actually tried to get me. That half-awake state between sleeping and awake. You know, the place where you suddenly feel like you're falling and get jolted awake. Except this time I wasn't falling. Something had grabbed onto my tent and was dragging it what felt like 50 miles an hour across the forest floor. I felt every bump when the tent was hitting tree stumps and rocks, destroying my tent and trashing me around viciously as I was being pulled at an insane speed through the trees, seemingly in a straight line, which didn't make any sense in hindsight with how dense the trees were there.
What doesn't make sense is you had more than one friend go missing out in these
And you
woods
just
and
casually drop that in.
You go back.
Yeah. I yelled out and could feel my vocal cords moving, but very little sound came out. I must have travelled a good several hundred feet like this. That's when I opened my eyes. The only thing that felt different was the tent was no longer moving. During this weird trance state of being dragged in my tent, everything looked identical. I was perfectly aware of my surroundings and it felt like a dream. However, when I finally opened my eyes, I was laying in my tent, seemingly undisturbed and unharmed. I called out to my friend, feeling bad for waking him up, but needing to know if this was reality, as the last place felt so real. He groggily woke up and said something back to me before going back to sleep. His response sounded legitimate to me, and I thought that actually sounded like him, realising that whatever I had heard earlier was far from anything he would actually do or say. That thing that called out to me in the high-pitched, whiny voice, mimicking my friends saying, "Help, help me, I need help, I have to pee, come out here," it still weirds me out to this day. After asking him about it the next morning, he just laughed and swore to me that he absolutely did not get up in the middle of the night and say anything to me, much less try and joke with me about getting out of the tent and needing me to help. Whatever that was, specifically targeted me. My friends have been back there since, and I opted out of that trip. I don't know if he just drank a lot of alcohol and was just scatting out.
I thought it was going to be I woke up and my tent was all ripped to shreds.
This is the thing. If the tent was fine...
It just seems like a dream.
Yeah.
And the first bit could be a dream as well.
Be.
Or it could be a scatty experience, but who knows. But the fact that his friend didn't hear it... But do other people hear it? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
But the fact that loads of your friends went missing and you went back to the same woods just tells me all I need to know.
Facts.
So, anyway.
Moving on.
This is another wood story, and it's from Thought Ninja. Its title is A Potential Encounter with a Mimic / Skinwalker. And it starts off, I must preface this with a few things. This encounter is secondhand but was told to me on multiple occasions by the person that experienced this. I am a natural skeptic and cynic, so I can't say 100% believe it, but his telling of it is pretty much simple yet concise, and did not vary between retellings. I've known this guy for many years, and his advice and input on just about everything is well reasoned and always helpful, so I'll just take his word on it, even if it's with a grain of salt. Also keep in mind, I am not a seasoned writer and past and present tense may get a little jumbled, but I'll keep it clear and accurate as best I can. So let's get down to business. My friend, we'll call him Marv, likes to go solitary camping on occasion to be one with nature and the things that go along with that. He was also an avid gun collector and enthusiast, so 3 guesses where this story's from. I don't remember exactly when he said this took place, but it was a few years back and he decided to go camping on a whim. He packed his gear, a few guns, hunting rifle and a .45 sidearm specifically. Why do you need all that to go camping?
Like
You're not even going on a hunting trip, so that's weird, but okay. And headed out into the country onto a vast swatch of property owned by a friend of his. He had full permission and the works. This happened close to Kisatchie National Forest in south central Louisiana. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. I won't be any more specific other than that. Safe to say it's miles and miles of forest and wilderness. He liked to hike in pretty deep and camp at a specific spot he found a few trips prior. These details are kind of sparse as it's not really the meat and potatoes to this encounter, so he made his way in and set up camp in his usual small clearing for the night. Skipping ahead a few hours, it was now late afternoon when he heard leaves crunching and twigs being stepped on. He assumed it was an animal at first and got up from cooking something on the fire to try and get a look. He gazed in the direction of the noise and saw a man approaching through the trees a good many yards away. He has described his etiquette for dealing with other people in very remote places as always being cautious, as more often than not people he comes across are armed like him. He tries to stay as friendly as possible but still keeps his guard up looking for any ulterior motives, as you never can tell with some folks are up to out in the middle of nowhere. He'll make chit-chat with them, find out generally what they're up to if he can, and occasionally share a meal. That escalated.
Wow.
He's never really met anyone nefarious as of yet, other than this situation and maybe one other, but that's a whole other ordeal. So one thing that sets off small alarm bells for him is he knows that he's the only one with permission to be on this property. And secondly, this guy is not dressed for the location at all. He said the guy was wearing a white t-shirt, short blue jogger shorts, and white socks and sneakers. Mind you, Marv is miles out in the middle of the woods, away from any path, roadways, houses, or anything really. Nobody is going to just casually stroll into his location dressed like that unless they are lost/confused. It was early fall but not quite cool, very normal for Louisiana. So there's a ton of mosquitoes, ticks and other insects aplenty.
Gross.
You're not going to have the most of your skin exposed if you can help it deep in the woods. I know that all too well from personal experience myself. So Marv assumes something might be up and calls out, "Hey there, do you need help or something?" pretty loud, definitely loud enough to be heard, and this guy just keeps walking forward, staring directly at him.
Oh my god.
Marv is starting to get unnerved, and as I said, I know this guy well, and he's cool as a cucumber in a tense situation.
He's just getting out the Maltesers, like, do you want a meal with me?
Getting more uneasy as the guy is closing the distance, he gets to his feet and loudly declares, "Hey man, can I help you with something or what?" This guy is 15 to 20 feet away from Marv now, standing at the edge of a clearing and the forest. The guy, looking Marv dead in the eye, speaks and clearly says, "Help me." Marv said he was already starting to actually get worried at this point, because he said the way the guy said this was as if something that didn't know exactly how to talk was saying "help me," or at least that's what he first thought. It did not sound right. This guy, still unmoving, says, "Help me."
Oh my god.
Again, slightly more emphatic, but really just slightly louder. Marv said this is when he picked up on what was truly wrong about this. He said the timbre of voice was more female and actually sounded like a recording being played back, and that the guy's lip and mouth movements weren't matching the phrase.
Oh no. Oh my god.
It's like he was just opening his mouth, admitting the phrase, and closing it again. Marv asked, "What do you need help with?" Not daring to back up or move whatsoever. The guy, still standing motionless as well, still looking directly at him, said, "Help me," again, and repeated the phrase another 3 times slowly, but not louder in volume. Marv, now totally unsure of what the hell is going on, interrupts the guy by barking, "Alright, you need to fucking go now, unless you actually need my help. Do you need my help or not?" He continued, loud and firm in tone. The guy didn't miss a beat and started up with the "help me" again.
Oh god.
And made as if to take another step in Marv's direction.
Get one of those guns out, Marv.
The next
You've
line.
got enough.
Marv told me that he did the only thing that made sense in the moment and drew his .45 semi-auto pistol and pointed at the guy, telling him again, "You need to fucking go, I don't care what you want." The guy starts to get more animated and agitated, actually starting to say the phrase louder over and over, but not stepping closer or backing away. Marv did what he thought was right given his current predicament, assuming he was dealing with an unstable or potentially dangerous individual, and discharged a round into the ground in front of the guy. Now this is where it gets fully batshit crazy.
Oh no.
In brackets, I'm not kidding. As the guy stops uttering the phrase, goes silent and still staring at Marv, full-on backflips and somersaults like gymnastics, backwards into the woods and immediately
He's like, "I'm out."
In brackets, yes, you read that right. Now I know what you're thinking, because I had the same reaction. That sounds like bullshit for sure, but Marv gave no indication of falsehood and told me this multiple times, each time in a dead serious demeanour.
What would you do in that situation? Because I would just be like, am I scared? Am I laughing? What is it?
Am I giving him a 10 out of 10 for the landing?
Do I clap?
Of all the exits, it's not just Homer backing into the bush. Fucking somersault.
Oh, wow.
Yet Marv said the guy backflipped away effortlessly, as if pulled back by an unseen tensioned coil.
Ooh.
He described it as completely humanly unnatural and totally out of place. The guy had just appeared and repeated the same phrase over and over, eventually becoming almost frantic before Marv shot at the ground before him, causing him/it to flee by somersaulting. Marv said he stood there focused on the forest where the guy just flipped into and saw and heard no further movement. It was like the guy had never ever been there. He stayed like this as the sun began to set and the normal noises of the night crept in. As I mentioned before, Marv is a pretty unshakable fellow and actually stayed in the area for the night, and the next night, before returning with no further incident, I would not have stayed.
You'd be like, oh, for God's sake, now it's night time.
Yeah, I don't even want to move from this spot, but what the hell just happened?
But I do imagine that Marv is in full camo gear, and he might even have a ghillie suit.
Yeah, he's armed and loaded,
Yeah.
like he's protected. When he had told me and some other friends about this, of course we asked many questions. We asked him to elaborate on the guy's speech sounds. He said the more he thought about it after the incident, the more sure he was that it was definitely a female's voice coming from the guy. It was like he/it had heard someone say this and mimicked it like a parrot or other talking bird would. Almost like a law. He doesn't know what it wanted. He/it, yeah, it might qualify as an it, didn't give any indication to follow or utter anything else. He/it reacted immediately to the gunshot, and you know what followed there. He had been back to the property since with no strange occurrences. The only other minute detail that I can think of is he did remember hearing during the early morning of the first night what sounded like a gunshot off in the distance, and it did sound eerily similar to his 45. He thought he may have heard it again on the hike back out. There are people that hunt in the area, of course, and it could have just been that. He couldn't be sure. Since this incident, and one other he had in a complete different location, he did some online research of the whole Kisachi
I don't know.
area and found many legends, stories, and supposed encounters dealing with skinwalkers and other unnerving bits of Native American folklore in the area. Not to mention mimics and other similar supposed creatures. A lot of his encounter lines up with these tales, but there's nothing tangible to prove it, of course. But even as a skeptic, it does make me wonder about strange things in the remote and untouched areas of our world that cannot be explained. So I can attempt to answer questions about this, but I'm only going off what I was told, so keep that in mind. I can potentially ask Marv about the ones I can't answer myself, as I should be hanging out with him in a few days, and that ends the post. But he went back. These people, honestly, they go back, they stay in these locations. I don't know what I would do, but I know
I'm not going
back.
back.
Go back. No.
And I'm probably not going to go camping again or like do that again.
On my own.
I don't know if I even would with people, because then if like at night, if they're going to sleep before me, I can't.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to go on my own in the first place, but it would make it worse having an encounter like that on your own, because you'd be like, did I even see that?
Was that real? Because a guy just backflipped into the forest.
And also, when I tell people about this, they're not going to believe me.
But the thing is, I would, because it's so ridiculous. Like, who would?
Comes up with that?
That's so random.
I'm just imagining him literally like...
You know, it's given Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, it is a really ridiculous story. I would definitely tell the friend whose land it is to be like, is there
You've got a skinwalker problem?
a guy who sounds like a female,
quite
who's a
feminine.
gymnast, who... Has anyone else encountered him? And he's like, oh yeah, that's just Dave.
Oh, Dave's on one again.
Yeah, he's been a problem this summer. But yeah, the fact he heard the gunshot as well. I can just imagine a guy like opening his mouth and it's the sound of a gunshot.
Oh.
Because he said like the help me. It was like a literal like recording, and they're just there like...
They just open their mouth for it. Oh.
Fuck that shit out now.
That is horrible.
And it was scared of the gun.
Well, yeah.
I'm glad he had the gun.
I'm glad he had multiple. He obviously needed them all.
Because otherwise, what would have happened to him?
Wow.
What would have happened to Marv?
That's very true. Oh, it's something about like just unnatural body movements as well that's so unsettling.
I would really want to see that on camera as well.
The flip.
Yeah.
I can imagine it not looking like a normal backflip.
I literally think it's like just like, you know that...
Like everything's straight. Like they don't even bend joints for it. They're just like...
Just like a plank of wood.
Yeah.
I imagine it like that effect on TikTok that's the twirling effect, where the AI makes your body twirl round. Have you not seen
So
that?
you look like a cheese string or something?
Yeah, like when people are like, my food in the microwave,
I've not
and
seen.
they're just turning. That's what I imagine it would look like.
Oh,
Like literally like a bendy cord.
that's horrendous. Oh God. I don't condone guns, but I condone Marv's actions.
Yeah, I think he
did all he
was-
could do.
He was in his right to defend himself. Those
Yeah.
are the laws of the land, and that guy was coming at him without. I would get so frustrated. Like, just please tell me what you want.
You're saying you need help, but how can I help you? Tell me what you need. Except I probably wouldn't have fired at the ground. I would have fired in the air. Because I just probably would have shot them accidentally.
I don't want to say that I wouldn't have just taken a shot at him, but I might have just been that.
You're just like, oh, well, I'm going to shoot you now. This is your own fault. I've kneecapped you.
I don't know if I would be that panicked to just want away from the situation. I could even turn the gun on myself, to be fair.
I don't want to inconvenience you, so I'm going to kill myself.
I don't want to deal with this.
The
This
ultimate
is ridiculous.
level of people pleaser.
But it's true. I literally just wouldn't. I would want out of the situation. Be like,
Yeah.
sorry, can you just move out the way so I can get past you to run away?
I know I'm crying, but just look past that.
But yeah, Marv was unshakable, and
You couldn't run though, because the minute you turn your back, you know that thing is gonna get you.
you would turn your back and then turn back around and it'd be like, yeah.
Oh no! It's flipping towards you. Oh, I don't like it.
Okay, tell me your story so I get that image out of my head.
Oh,
of
that's
that
actually-
thing just somersaulting backwards.
Shook me to the core. I'm just trying to make sense in my mind of what this username actually means, because it obviously means something, but my brain just can't see it. So it's B4 con B34T down. I don't know what that means.
Okay, shout out
Yeah.
to them.
Cool. This is their Wendigo encounter.
Oh,
Well, it's called
okay.
Wendigo encounter anyway. I've been debating on sharing this story with anyone outside of my small circle of people that were there, but I want to share my experience in hopes that it saves someone's life or to give an understanding of what someone else has experienced. It's quite a bold statement. Late fall 2010, in northern Canada, I went deep into the wilderness with my father and my eldest brother to hunt for moose. We left in the early morning, just before sunrise, trying to cover as much distance as possible before nightfall. We travelled winding rivers and had to repeatedly portage. What does portage mean? Jump over rapids all day.
Parkour.
Maybe it means somersault. We decided to set up camp just over halfway to our destination. My father figured that we'd make the rest of our journey tomorrow. Well, when everyone bedded down for the night, I decided to grab some firewood and relieve myself down the bank of the river, just out of reach of the light of the campfire. Out from the tree line, about 15 yards away, I could hear rustling in the bushes. I watched the area where I heard the noise and focused on that spot. I felt kind of funny, maybe dizzy or lightheaded, and I could smell this putrid stink like old milk or rotten food. Then I saw the trees start to morph and move ever so slightly and began to take the shape of a head and slight facial features. My eyes began to adjust to the darkness, and along the tree line I could hear this voice coming from there. I recognised it. The voice sounded like one of my relatives who had recently passed. The face took shape of my relative. "Hello," they said. "I've missed you. Come see me." I smiled and stepped forward a bit, but stopped to analyse the situation. My relative's face stopped smiling and became emotionless. The skin began to turn pale and peel away. Chunks of flesh from their cheeks began to fall away, and I felt shock and fear overwhelm my body. I couldn't make sense of it all, and I started to back away and make my way to the camp. I didn't realise at the time that I had been walking towards the voice and I was further away from the firelight. The voice became angry and began shouting at me, "Come here!" So I turned to run away, but as I looked back one more time, I saw the most disgusting thing I'd ever seen. It was rotting flesh or gnawed bone, caved-in eyes and hollow chest cavity. This humanoid creature was tall and super thin. I ran as fast as I could, trying to yell for help, but the fear had made my voice quiet and raspy. I ran along the riverbank, and I could hear the heavy breaths and the stomping feet from this thing right behind me. I made it to the top of the riverbank, but it grabbed hold of my leg as I jumped. I gripped and tore the grass, trying to lift myself, and yelled as loud as I could. Then finally my voice came back, and I yelled, "Someone has my leg!" My brother woke up and ran over where I was and pulled me up and took me to the fire. I was terrified, trying to explain what I had saw and that it looked like my relative, but not. I was trying to convince them that I wasn't seeing things, but my brother nodded his head and said, "I saw it too. I know." That solidified it. He acknowledged that it was real. We stayed up all night after that, rifles loaded and close by. We packed up when the sun was coming up and made our way back home. We haven't shared that story with anyone out of fear of being labelled as crazy or liars. I've had nightmares and couldn't sleep for months afterwards. I would see things, dark figures looking into my window, or hear whispers when I was walking home at night. Eventually, I was seeing this dark figure daily. I went to a medicine man or shaman for help, but I've learned that ceremonies only relieves it temporarily. Friends have given me everything from protection pouches to certain crystals. I found out that there's a strong possibility that I encountered a Wendigo. I learned that if you encounter one and survive it, it attaches itself to you like a parasite. I learned that it could only do this if it touches you, which it did. Ever since that night, I've been on edge. When I enter any forest or wooded area, which sucks because I loved being outdoors and hunting in nature, now I always feel like I need to keep my back against something when I'm out in the wild. Anyways, make your own conclusions about this. I've paid a price for being an ignorant child to stories of old. They are real, and I can attest to that. Stay safe, everyone.
I feel so bad for him, but the mistake he made was just taking a few minutes and being like smiling back at it.
Yeah, like being
towards
entranced
it.
almost.
Yeah.
Because I guess you would be caught off guard. Like you see someone that you lost and you're like, oh my God. Actually, I probably wouldn't. I'd be like, what the hell? But some people might be like,
yeah, like
oh, that's so nice. Like before your brain catches up, you'd be like, oh my God. And then you're like, what?
What are you doing here? Fancy seeing you here.
Oh wait, you're dead. What the hell?
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, I just feel really bad for him. The fact that it's now like plagued his life.
And it's attached to him. I didn't know it could do that.
I didn't know that it, like, if it didn't get you but touch you, it will
Then
just
that's
plague
it.
your whole life.
So is that it then? Like he's just waiting for it to
Only
catch up with him?
ceremonies, like, relieve it temporarily.
Oh.
That's a sad one. So, we're going over to the woods again.
Of course.
And this is a story by _Dotsies. So it says, personal account. I lived in Waynesboro, VA, which is that Vancouver?
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
I don't think it's Vermont because I think that's VT, so I'm guessing it's Vancouver. For about 5 years. Less than 10 miles to the BRP North Entrance Skyline Drive South Entrance. I used to take bike rides along SD all the time and always kept a year-long membership, only in the day though, just to frame the story. One night I was having a particularly hard time settling for bed, so I decided to start up the bike and ride up to the first overlook on Skyline, only about a mile inside the park. It was about 11 p.m. when I got there and pitch black. I killed the bike and got immediately uncomfortable. I don't know what this guy is saying. The like direction references, I'm really lost.
Yeah,
but it's
don't
in the
explain
woods.
it to me.
Yeah, it's in the woods, and he took a drive on his bike at 11 p.m. So I'm not that guy that gets spooked in the dark. Oh, you're hard. Truthfully, I prefer the dark in most situations.
Mm.
You can see people before they see you. You are practically invisible unless someone is looking for you. And I find the natural privacy comforting. Not up there though. It was a thick, oppressive dark. Worse than anything I experienced outside of a cave. And worse than any moonless night on the Appalachian Trail. I immediately got hinked out. Big time, which I don't know what that
Scared?
means either. I shouldn't have chose this one because it might not make sense, but we're getting there. There's nothing up here besides wildlife, I reassured myself initially. I had a 45 mag revolver from what I lived/I've in the Pacific Northwest, bear country and all that jazz, tucked into my CCW holster. So I knew I definitely outmatched anything that could be up there.
I love all the details this guy gives.
But what about a guy with another gun? You're pretty much evenly matched there. Two-legged snakes included.
Are the people the snakes?
Means.
Snakes everywhere.
I'm guessing so. So I sat in the dark, leaning against the bike for a while and looking at the few lights I could see in the valley below. I managed about 10 minutes before I physically felt the hair raise on my back of my neck. I only did 27 months in Iraq, but I remember that precise feeling. Someone watching me. Something bad was coming. It was the same sensation I would get before IDF came in or shooting started somewhere nearby. This is jumping all over the place, but I promise it's getting somewhere. I'm no psychic or whatever, but it's a common thing among vets with any time under their belt. Ask him about it. That's how it's written. You can
ask about it.
You can feel hateful eyes on you. The overlook was a sheer drop, or nearly so I wasn't concerned about anything popping up in that direction, but the mountainside and thick untamed woods were behind me. I started thinking about methed out dudes creeping the Appalachian Trail, bears and the like. The AT is no stranger to random violence, so I think Appalachian Trail.
Oh, that makes sense. What would you rather, a meth man or a bear?
The man or the bear?
At least the bear's a bit more predictable.
Yeah, I think there's that question of the man and the bear, and most women choose the bear.
Oh, yeah.
So just giving the man some meth.
That's not great.
Still gonna choose the bear, because that just makes the man even worse, to be honest.
Very true.
Still feeling creeped out, I took up a seat on the waist-high stone wall that marked the overlook ledge facing the woods. Again, I can't emphasise how dark it was, but Gris, you might say, why not turn on the bike and use the lights? Oh, okay, so Gris is his name.
Okay.
What's that short for? I thought it said but girls, but then I was like, oh no, it says Gris.
Grissamy.
Okay.
Grissamaya? Is that?
Why not turn on the bike and use the lights? It will at least help you see what's close. True, but my bike is loud. And the last thing I wanted was attention.
Why doesn't he just go?
I don't know. The way it's written as well, there's so much emphasis, and the amount of brackets this guy used, that's why I think it sounds like it's jumping around. But I promise it's getting somewhere. We just need to preface everything, apparently. Go into extreme detail. So the last thing I wanted was attention. Plus the light would just night blind me to anything just out of view. And the noise would obscure any stealthy sounding creeping going on. So no thanks. I'll watch and listen for a bit. I sat in the dark for another 10 minutes or so, anxiety getting worse and worse. Again,
just go
home. I heard a few things, but nothing out of the ordinary for a night in the woods. I decided to head on home since the feeling wasn't going away.
Yeah.
Like I said, I had a big boar on me, so anything playing games would be in for a powerful surprise if the games got stupid. I'm guessing big boar means gun.
Gun? Yeah.
This slang is...
Imagine being a hiker and being like, is that guy sat on his own in the dark?
in the extreme darkness. With a gun.
It's weird.
This is how accidental shootings happen, because you're not aware of your surroundings. Hopping onto my Suzuki, I started it up and rode off towards the gate. Now, anyone who lives in the country and rides a bike knows that wildlife is crazy active on roads that aren't travelled often at night. Being nighttime and technically closed, I had to ride around a gate to get in there. There was no other vehicles on the road at all. I hadn't seen a single other person since leaving Waynesboro proper. The speed limit was 30 miles per hour, but I clipped along at a measly 15 miles per hour to keep an eye out for deer and wildlife. It wouldn't do me any good to fuck myself up in a wreck, only to lay there all night until someone happened to cross me in the morning. Then I saw it.
Oh.
The term of almost deer is really fitting, not but quite accurate. It was like a deer that someone who had never seen a deer drew, but only after someone else had described it to them. It stood on the left side of the road, mountainside, and I saw the eyes long before the headlight shone it fully. It was big, easily the biggest deer I've ever seen, and the lack of any horns that time in the year suggested that it was a doe. The head was almost bovine in shape, but fixed to a deer's frame. The legs seemed too long in proportion to the body. Think maned wolf proportions. Again, no idea. And the body was extremely barrel-chested. I've always been creeped out by malformed wildlife, and this was no exception. What other malformed wildlife have you come across?
That's what he does, just watches them in the dark.
Unfortunately...
Two-legged snake.
Unfortunately, I had to get it to move, or risk passing within a few feet of it. I was not travelling another 30 plus miles up the road in another direction to leave through another gate in the middle of the night, and I wasn't getting close to it. Dangers of it spooking and running into the side of my cruiser aside, I didn't want to get near it at all, stopping and putting my feet down about 30 apostrophe away from it, so I don't know how far...
I think that's foot.
Yeah. I tried to frighten it away. I flashed my beams down to low and back to high. Nothing. I revved the engine. Nothing. I honked the considerable horn. Nada. Resting the bike on a kickstand, I left it idling and hopped off. I yelled at the thing and it still didn't budge, so I started to the side of the road to grab something to toss near the deer thing, hoping to spook it away. As soon as I crossed into the other lane, it rose up onto its hind legs.
Oh.
I froze, putting my hand on my gun. I wasn't about to get charged by an angry, confused, malformed doe. It took two jerky, unnatural steps towards the centre of the lane on two legs and froze again, staring directly at me. It suddenly shook his head wildly like a dog with a toy, took another short step, then hopped on its two legs several times until it disappeared into the darkness on the right side of the road. I stepped back to the bike, mounted it, kicked up the kickstand and turned the light towards the side of the road. On that side there was a sheer drop off about 75 to 80 degrees compared to the roadway, and the fucking thing's head was just peeking over the edge, still looking at me. The drop was 45 to 50 feet, so there's no way it was standing at the base of the mountainside. I cracked the throttle and beat the hell out of there. Road wildlife be damned. I never went back up on the Skyline Drive at night alone after that. One time was enough. There are things we don't grok out there, or things that just visit for a while. Whatever it wasn't from around here parts in Hill Talk. It can go back to wherever it came from and stay there. Addendum?
Yeah.
Gris is my road name and used above. This was originally posted to my social media, so he doesn't say what his real name is. Gris is his road name.
I love how you even had to add that bit of detail in.
Someone put in a comment, which is just a lie. You are an excellent writer. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. That was a very confusing story for the large part of it.
It would be even funnier if they were like, oh, I was on the edge of my leather-bound seat that I bought 2 years ago.
After my tour in Iraq. We got there.
Yeah, we did.
It's a creepy story, and apparently the not deer is like a cryptid type thing around here parts. In the national parts in the UK where
the UK?
No, the US.
I was going to say, what?
The weird deers that stand up on their two hind legs, and like he said, it kind of looks like a deer, but if someone who didn't know what a deer looked like drew a deer from someone else's description of deer.
Do you remember that story that I told that was when they saw the deer and but the deer was too long, like his head was too high in the tree line and it ended up killing the friend? You know, when the friend was...
Yeah, I was going to say the one with... I can't even remember, like... The one with that circle that was disturbed.
Yeah, and that's how they described it. So...
Spooky Woods episode. Check it out if you haven't
That was
already.
it, Spooky Woods. I was trying to think, when did that feed into anything? It was Spooky Woods.
Yeah, check it out if you haven't already.
Yeah, that was a spooky...
Little...
Spoiler, I just ruined it for you. But
Little plug to a past episode.
Right, I think this one... Oh, I've got to put my pen
I was trying to decide whether you meant the buck from the Alien episode. Or...
Oh, yeah.
There's been a lot of spooky stories on Spooky and Kooky, so go back to any episode and you'll get
find
a spook.
something.
You'll find something odd. But yeah, the not quite deer creature is a thing. But yeah, he didn't even seem that creeped out by it. He was just like, well, I needed it to move, this like weird malformed deer, but...
Yeah. Just the fact that when it went on the two legs, as when he'd got farther away from the bikes, that he couldn't just get on it and go. I'd be like, of course. This is how I'm going to die.
The fact that he'd like turned the bike lights into the forest and then it was just peering over the mountain like, is that bruh?
Are you still there?
You alright, Gris?
Roadman Gris.
Chris and me. No, it was
Chris and Maya. Oh. Okay, this one is quite long. Okay, and this is called, I think there's a skinwalker or something like that at my grandparents' farm, and it creeps me the fuck out.
It would.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, it would.
Yeah. Okay, so I have been a skeptic of creepy paranormal things my entire life. I have never really believed in that type of stuff, but the things I have heard/witnessed at my grandparents' farm shakes me to my core.
I should just become a skeptic and then these things will happen to me. Because I've only had like one true paranormal experience in my life, which was the time at the Isle of Wight.
Some people have none though. I think I've had two.
Maybe we should just be more skeptical and they'll just fall in our lap. And then we can do a whole episode about our spooky encounters, because we don't really have enough.
We're too needy.
3 to go around.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want it to happen so bad.
They're like, what pick me girl.
And it's not as fun to scare someone who's going to just be easily scared. We want someone like Gris who knows how to handle himself in the dark. He's fucking tough.
Turning a light on for no one. My grandparents own a large plot of land in central Missouri, and they have owned that land for around 40 years. I've been to that farm over 10 times, and every time I go, I always get this terrifying feeling that something is watching me. Like there's always something behind my back. Ugh. I have also had many strange encounters there that are downright bizarre. My first encounter with whatever the hell this thing was when I was around the age of 7 to 9. In brackets, I'm currently 14. We had brought our dog named Spot to that farm, and he was a silver lab who I loved dearly. I was exploring the forest behind the house, just enjoying the summer breeze, when my dog started growling. A deep, sinister growl that I've never heard him make. I turned around quickly to see what he was growling at, but could see nothing but forests along forests. Okay. While my eyes were scanning the area of where my dog was growling, some animal shot out of the bush so fast I could barely see what it was, and before I knew it, it was gone. I sat there for what felt like an eternity, absolutely flabbergasted by what I had just witnessed.
Do you know what saying I love at the moment? I heard someone on TikTok saying, and it was like, my flabbers have been gasted.
I've never heard that. I like that. From what I could see of it, it looked like a coyote, but the speed at which it moves was absolutely insane. Moved at like 90 miles an hour and made almost no noise. But the most creepy part was that the place it jumped out of didn't even make an imprint of where it was laying, and from where I viewed it jumping up, I should have been able to easily see where it was hiding. Shocked by what I witnessed, I just decided that enough was enough and I went back inside the house. My second encounter happened when I was around 10. I was visiting the place and, like usual, I was getting the feeling I was being watched. That first day was normal and nothing really creepy happened. I was just spending quality time with the family. This guy talks like, I say guy, he's literally 14, but like he's 40.
It's like that. My favourite video ever is of when that kid is interviewed in the news and the mum turns around to him like, oh no, because he's like, people fleeing from the danger, and he's like a really little kid, but he sounds like 50, and when he starts talking, the mum just is like, no.
Yeah, that isn't it, that's facts.
If people don't know what I'm on about, I might try and insert clip here.
Scary seeing other people's families just fleeing from the danger. It's just upsetting.
Just so people know, because it's a good one.
Yeah, it is. But when night came, that's when shit started happening. I was trying to sleep in the twin bed that was shared by my mum's brother. Oh, when he used to live there. I was going to say, this sounds like a horror in itself.
My uncle slept in a twin bed with me. My mum's brother, just say your uncle.
That really shook me. That really threw me off. I was like, oh my god, we've opened a can of worms. When I heard tapping, not tiny little taps, but loud taps, almost like banging. So banging. It was coming from the direction of the window. I slowly sat up and looked at the window, but there was nothing, so I assumed it was just some animal or something like that. 5 minutes passed and no tapping, and I was drifting off to sleep when boom, this time not a tap, a slam. A loud slam directly into the window. I'm not talking about like a hit, it sounded as if something absolutely massive hit the window. I shot up so quickly I nearly passed out. I decided enough was enough and grabbed a flashlight in the drawer and shined it out the window. Nothing. 10 seconds passed. Nothing. I was about to go crawl into my mum's bed when I heard it. A screech. A screech that was not achievable by any human. So loud it pierced the quiet, peaceful summer night. I can't put it into words what that sound sounded like, but it was dark and horrible, and I still remember it to this day. It's only 4 years ago. Sorry. I don't know
When
why.
you're 14, 4 years feels like a lifetime, okay?
Oh, I don't know why I'm going so hard for this.
Yeah, let the kid be. He's been through it.
I froze, unable to move a muscle. I was so scared. I was sitting there as still as a statue, petrified by what I heard. That's when my instincts kicked in and they told me to run into my mum's room, which I did. For some reason, I didn't wake her up. I just cuddled up next to her and didn't sleep the entire night. All I could think of was that sound, that terrible bloody screech. My next encounter was when I was around the age of 13. I was back at my grandparents', just enjoying my time like I usually do with my grandpa, and he suggested that we go deer watching. I agreed because I had been doing this since as long as I could remember, and it was never an issue and it was extremely fun. So we took the Polaris. Don't know what that is. Some kind of 4x4 or something?
Yeah. I was going to say it might be like a dirt bike or something.
Yeah. And when are at around 6 to 7 p.m. to look for deer. That doesn't make sense, but okay, it was about 6 to 7 p.m. We decided to go into the most eastern pasture because that's usually where we spotted the most deer.
Sorry.
Who is this kid?
Has a better vocabulary than me. An eastern pasture.
He's just spending time with the family.
In the eastern pasture.
30 minutes passed and we had seen a few deer, but not as much as we usually do. But then this is where shit begins. I get that feeling again. That dreadful feeling that something is there in the shadows watching me. But this time it's a lot more intense. Like it's right up behind me, but when I look, it's never there. But this time it appears that my grandpa feels the same presence as me too. Just to let all of you know, my grandpa is a very laid-back individual, always joking and having a laugh. The only time I've seen him be very serious is when my great-uncle died a couple of years ago. So when I start feeling that I'm being watched, my grandpa goes from happy and laid-back expression to a very serious and alert expression. He gripped the wheel so tight his knuckles turned white and was constantly looking around to make sure that something wasn't following us. He then made a massive U-turn out of nowhere and started heading back to the house. I asked him, "What are you doing?" And he replied with, "We're heading back to the house." The tone of voice was cold, like he had witnessed someone being murdered. At this point, he was gripping the wheel even harder and was absolutely going pedal to the metal, full speed back to the house. I decided not to ask any questions until we got back to the house, which we did in no time at all. Once we were there, he rushed me into the house, constantly checking his back to make sure something wasn't there. When we were inside, he closed and locked the door tight. His behaviour was very alarming, and it really shocked me to my core. I decided that all of this stuff I had witnessed was enough, and only asked him one question. What the hell is going on? When I said that, he looked at me and gave me a cold expression and said, "I have some things I need to explain to you." We then sat down for 30 minutes and he explained that whatever this thing was living on his property has been there since the day they moved in, and he and my mother experienced the same thing that was happening to me the first few years of living here. He explained that he has seen whatever this thing is. It doesn't like new visitors, hence why I was experiencing all of these problems. He told me all about the things he had witnessed and experienced, and they seemed to have been pretty similar to what was happening to me.
He couldn't have told him, pre-warned him?
No, maybe just or put out some feelers just to see if he had had the same experience. He told me that he knew this was going to happen to me. Great.
Thanks.
And that he was always watching to make sure I never got hurt because he knew this creature better than anyone else. We talked some more, but all of it was the same. It was now late and he decided I couldn't sleep alone, so he had me sleep with my mum. We luckily promptly left the next morning. I have not been back since that day. Although he says last encounter. Fuck's sake. Last encounter. This last encounter isn't really an encounter. Two things that have happened at my grandparents' farm. I'm so confused. Recently, we brought my sister's horse to their farm.
So you have been back?
I've never been back, but when I did go back... The first night for the horse was hell. My sister's horse has always been very friendly and not shy, but the first night of my sister's horse being at the farm was bizarre. The next morning, my grandpa woke up and was doing his usual chores and went to go feed the horse, and he noticed the horse was acting very weird, extremely shy and timid. But when he took a better look, he was shocked. The horse had 3 10-inch gashes down its side, like something had clawed it. It was ruled out that the horse ran into the fence, but I think otherwise. Also, around the same time, my grandparents adopted a dog named Panda. Panda was a Jack Russell Terrier who is 2 months of age. 5 days later, he was found dead with deep puncture wounds on his body with his neck slashed. They ruled out a bobcat or mountain lion, but I also think otherwise. I don't know what the hell this thing is, but something tells me if I go back, good things will not come.
What?
I'm so confused.
Good things will not come. And also, I love how he just played down like, oh, the last thing, it's not really an encounter, it's a bit of an afterthought, but my dog was slashed to death.
And the horse was slashed up. But really, it was more just the feeling that I had about someone watching me, which I went into great detail about.
And I still, to this day, do not know what this thing is.
Who knows? It baffles me.
But I was thinking, it is interesting how when you get paranormal stories from America, and whether this is cultural and people have like folklore in different places, when there's a haunting in the UK, it seems to be like a Victorian person.
Yeah.
When it's the US, it's these skinwalkers and wendigos, which blend into their Native American
root. Well,
roots.
they don't really have the roots because they just murdered everyone.
Yeah, but it's the root of the land.
The law of the land.
Yeah, so it's interesting that, like, because in the UK we don't get this.
You don't see, like, a ghost of a roadman, do you?
No, I bet that will come in, like, 100 years' time.
Arguably more terrifying than a Victorian. I heard the sound of someone doing donuts in my... where I usually park my car, and I looked out and there was nothing.
Yeah. Felt like it was circling me.
And then I looked out and there was a ghostly Audi A1.
Just like it left behind a man bag, but no one was ever there.
I could see the tread marks, and then I went out and there was nothing there.
Yeah, it would be like that. We're going to end this episode not with a watchery section, because I've been slacking lately. I've been watching shit, but it's not speaking kooky shit. So I've been slacking and I've got nothing. I'll just come out and say it.
I've got nothing.
So we're going to end on a question. A questionary.
Oh, the questionary. Question time. No, that's a thing.
And we're going to ask it to each other, but also chime in the comments down below on what you would do. And the question is, would you stay in a haunted house with no Wi-Fi? Because that's a key point in it. We saw this question on TikTok, by the way. We didn't come up with it. But stay in a haunted house without Wi-Fi for a week for 10 mil.
Oh, was it a week? I don't remember it being a week.
It was a week.
Because I was going to say, like... We wanted to stay at haunted places anyway, but not for a week.
Without Wi-Fi?
So, no, but we just wanted to see it.
I know, but without Wi-Fi... I wouldn't want to stay anywhere without Wi-Fi for a whole week.
That's torture in itself, haunted or not.
Because I'm guessing they mean no Wi-Fi, no cellular data. So just to be clear, you've got no internet access, you are off-grid, and you can't text anyone.
And I'm on my own.
Let's just say no phone, no computer, electronic device. You're literally on your own.
Can I ask more questions before deciding?
Yes.
So what I would want to know is, what are the stories of this place I'm going to? Like, what is the ghost situation? What are past hauntings like? Have they been physically hurt? I want to know that.
They've not been physically hurt, but the house has a law to it, which is that there was sacrifices going on in the 1800s, and then on top of that land there was an asylum built. So there's a lot of sorrow on this land, and it's haunted by the spirits from both the sacrifices and the asylum. And they're angry. They're angry at the world because of what they did to them, but they can't physically hurt you.
Yeah,
but they can throw you around. So actually, no, they can't physically harm you, as in any
they can't
irreparable
scratch
damage,
me.
but they can just like throw you around, give you a bit of a scare, and you don't know when it's going to come. They can like physically touch you, like
Throw
pull
you around the room a bit.
Yeah, they can like pull you around and stuff.
Okay. My second question is, do I have to explore the house, and do I have to like actually try and document my time? Do I have to try and incite the spirits, or can I just literally stay in one room and wait for the week to end?
In this house, you don't need to incite the spirits. They will come to you.
Great.
So you don't need to. They will just come to you. You don't have to document your time in there. And you can stay in one place, but you won't want to.
Can I explore the grounds?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can get outside.
But outside there's a cemetery.
Great.
That has no lights in.
But in the day I can go for a little walk.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would actually survive a week, because I don't know if I'd give myself a heart attack.
So are we saying that, you know, for the whole week you get 10 mil and nothing short of a whole, I don't know
You
how
have to
many
stay
hours
the
are a
whole
week,
time.
but you have to stay a whole 7 full days.
Yeah. It's all or nothing.
But if you decide to go in, can you then decide to leave?
You
Or
can.
if you decide to go in,
You're stuck.
yeah, so would you decide to go in if you knew that you could not leave no matter what? But you're not going to die.
Well, I might, because I might have a heart attack.
Yeah, other than natural causes, you're not going to die.
Well, it's as a result.
But knowing that, you can be like, well, I know nothing's like.
Can I be
What
hooked
doesn't
up?
kill you only makes you stronger.
Can my vitals be monitored?
A
So
doctor
that
come in
if
with
someone
you.
needs to step in, just from afar, can they be monitoring me so that I don't die of a heart attack? Because if I know that I won't die of a heart attack, like someone is monitoring me in case of a medical emergency.
Yeah, but I've just said if you go in, you can't come out before that 7 day
No,
mark.
but
So
they-
even if you are having a heart attack, what can they do?
Well, go in and give me medical
Okay.
assistance. They can't be like,
they can do that.
there's
yeah.
a clause that I can leave
Yeah.
on medical grounds, because
Okay,
I'm not going to
yeah,
stay
fair.
in there and have a heart attack and die.
Fair. But you can't just feign a heart attack to get
No.
out there early. Someone has to go in and assess you physically.
Yeah, well, they're
before you
already
can leave.
they leave me unless my vitals show that
Yeah,
I'm gonna die.
unless you drop. Okay, yeah, okay, that's fair. I will give you that.
Okay, then yeah, I guess so. Can't
You
really
would.
10 million. Can't really turn that down. It's worth the thought of not having to go to work.
For a week. Oh no, you mean use the 10 mil to...
What, you want to be haunted? That's saying something. It's long. You got to play the long game for it and just think. Oh, but then would you be permanently damaged?
I
by
think I
what
would
you've
try and
seen?
bargain with whoever's doing it and try and get them up to like at least 20, if not a billy.
But you
But
can't
I don't think
leave.
I don't think I can haggle that much. I don't think I can haggle them up from 10 mil to a billy. That's a bit
No,
of a...
that's a jump. That is a leap.
But that, like, honestly, I don't know if I could do it knowing that I can't leave
Yeah. Well,
once I'm in. Unless I have a hearters. Which I'm young.
it's still
The odds
possible.
aren't high for that. But then if you have a hearters, you've left. Say you
Yeah.
have a hearters day 3, you've gone through 3 days of hell,
Yeah.
and then you've left, not got the 10 mil, and a damaged heart for the rest of your life. So that's a pretty bad deal anyway. So
Yeah.
if I go in, I want to stay for the entire time and make sure I get the 10 mil.
Just leave me. I know
It'd
I'm
be
out
like
now.
the people on like challenge shows who are like, I'm doing this for my family. I need this money.
The more I think of it, the more I don't want to do it.
Could I take in puzzle books?
No.
I
You
need
can't-
something to entertain me. I can't just be in there with no Wi-Fi, nothing.
The spirits
Nothing but
will.
my spirits and my mind.
You can do noughts and crosses in the dust.
Do you know, if you made me do that, even if the house wasn't haunted, I come out at the end and I'm changed forever because I can't be alone with my own mind for
That
7
is
days with nothing.
Too much reflection. That alone, I am insane.
So I would need some kind of entertainment.
You can bring
a little chempage.
You can bring one item with you. And it's whatever you choose, but you can bring one item. Whether that's a pillow or a nice little blanket, but
so
only
there's no
one.
bedding?
Well, there's just a mattress.
There's only the bed that DeFeo slept in.
They've not changed the mattress. There's just that one mattress. No.
Is there shower facilities?
It is as it was left, so
Like a bath with black grime in it?
probably, yeah.
Okay.
So you might have to bring wet wipes as your one item.
Do you know what? That's so annoying though, because you need those accessory items like shower. What about food? What are you eating?
So you can
You
have
get provided gruel 3 times a day.
yeah. So like you will be delivered food, normal food, but nothing fancy on the doorstep.
Okay.
And when you answer the door, there's no one there because they've left. Like you can't have any human interaction. And it will be like sandwiches or like.
Could I wager and haggle?
No.
No, listen, hear me out. An extra 10 milli for a friend to go in there with me. Like, they pay my friend 10 milli to do it with me and pay me the original 10 milli. So it only actually benefits me.
So you can get at halfway through. I love how we're just making these parameters.
You can phone a friend.
No, halfway through you get the option of having a friend come in with you, but you have to split the money or continue on your own.
Yeah, but that's 5 mil each still.
Yeah. So it depends what you've seen in half your time.
Would you want me to call upon you to get the 5 milli? And so say you're at home and you
Like
know I'm
getting the call.
doing this and you hear the phone ring and you're like, oh my God, it's day 3 and she's got the option to bring in a friend. It's my time. And you pick up the phone and I'm just crying.
Yeah.
And I say, please.
I would do it. Even like
Ellen, this is serious.
I would do it.
You're going to see some stuff. But please, I need someone in here with me because this is hell.
Yeah, I wouldn't leave you on your own.
You wouldn't just be like, oh,
sorry,
no,
who's
the
this?
call dropped. Because you only get one call as well. You can't just phone up every friend.
What if they
and be
don't
like,
answer? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But if they don't answer, you can re-ring.
Yeah. But
there's only one chance.
only like 2 rings. You can't just keep phoning them until they pick up. If they don't pick up, that's your own problem.
Pick a better friend.
That's a you problem. But one friend can't say no, and then you just call round until someone says yes.
You've got one lifeline.
Yeah. See, I don't know if I would actually just be like, lock a source of signal, sorry.
Oh, phone calls make me anxious.
And because I picked up, you don't get another phone call. Oh no, I couldn't do that to you. You were just saying that's so bad. And I would get 5 mil.
Yeah.
And I would get one item to take in. So if you've got the wet wipes, I'll be like, right,
Imagine if you bring the same thing. So you don't know what I've brought.
On the phone call, I'm trying to get hints like, so are you smelling by this point?
What's good to take?
What's the food like? Do we need any condiments?
It's just basic.
Okay, yeah, I would go in with you, but I don't know if I would go in on my own. I wouldn't want to be the first one going in because realistically, the friend who gets a call on day 3.5...
That's not as bad.
They've got the best deal because they only go in with a friend and they get the same amount of money.
Well, no. Well, yeah, but the original person gets half.
I know, but they've had to do more time
Yeah.
on their own for the same amount of money.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
As the person coming in
Yeah.
for just 3.5 days and they've got to be with someone the whole time. I'd be on the phone like, I need you to come, but you're going to give me 1 milli of your milli. Of your 5 milli, I want 1 milli. I want 6, you can have 4.
I enjoy...
It's not an even split. I've been in here on my own for 3.5 days.
That's not my problem. Enjoy your solitary. What about we spend a bit of the money on a joint thing then?
We go on
Is
a
that
nice
better?
holiday.
Yeah.
Okay.
a fancy one. So it's like, we've used the money.
But what if it's like that? Those people who have these experiences together, and then they're like, it's too traumatic to even be next.
I just can't look at you.
We've already booked the holiday before you come, so then we're just on the plane, silent, like.
Or we just both go mute from the experience.
Go off grid. I've already got my 5 minute.
Yeah. Wow, that really.
Spiral.
And what if, when you bring a friend, you still have to sleep in a separate room at night?
Yeah, I would still want to bring the friend.
Yeah, it's worth it, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Even to have some company in the day.
Yeah.
Even if the house isn't haunted, like I said, like the lack of stimulation on my brain would just do me no good. I'd wither.
Yeah.
I'd physically come out like a raisin, mentally and physically.
Just have to be wheelchaired out.
Right, that really escalated
That did.
and spiraled, but
With all those parameters, if you can remember
with that
everything.
situation,
Everything that we said.
Remember it. Just let us know down below what you would do.
Yeah.
If you would do it for 10 milli.
And if your friend called you, if you would join them as well.
Or if you would put the phone down and
Yeah.
pretend you lost signal. I mean, if enough people subscribe, like, and watch the video, maybe we can give you 10 milli to spend a week in a haunted house.
I thought you were going to say maybe we can do it. I was like, no. No.
No, 10 milli is a bit. You would need a lot of views and subscribers. So I'm happy in saying that because I know I won't be held to it.
This is the point where we blow up. Out
People
of
be
spite.
petty. But yeah.
Well,
we're not
let us
doing
know
it.
what you would do.
Alright.
And yeah, as always, like and subscribe. I don't know why I did it in that voice, and I'm not really sure what that was, but
Like and subscribe if you like the video and
Yeah.
want to see more spooky and kooky content.
yeah,
See, I didn't know why I did it in that voice.
why are we like this? But anyway, thanks again, and see you
See you
next
later.
time. Bye.
Bye.
Spooky and kooky, mystery and wonder. Feel the magic under. Spooky and kooky.